Ja, hallo. Welkom in de podcast Wonderlijk. En vandaag praat ik met Wim Snijders en Andreas Müller. En we doen het in het Engels voor Andreas. Ik zou het ook in het Duits kunnen doen, maar laten we het maar in het Engels doen. Good morning, Andreas and Wim. Nice to see you again. And I met you for the first time now, Wim. So welcome. And now we will see what's coming up, and we have a little talk together about, non-duality. I don't like that word that much because it seems like a concept, but it's not, and you cannot say anything about it, and it's about nothing. It's no message, no nothing to get, nothing to gain. Nowhere to go, just what's happening, and it's also not real, but it's just undescribable or something. I don't know. Maybe Andreas.
So first of all, thanks for the invitation, and hello to, it's lovely to meet here on Zoom. And yes, that was a nice sum up already about what's this about. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't have a name, you're completely right. So it's a bit, ungraspable. This message is ungraspable, what it points to is ungraspable. So yeah. And I also don't really like the word non-duality. It's way too technical for what we talk about.
Yeah, some mental thing or something you can understand, or you can go to, or if you can get, or you can comprehend, but it's not the case.
Exactly. Yeah. And what we talk about is much, much more direct.
And simple also. It's so simple that the mind maybe becomes also irritated about not grasping it or something.
Yeah, but the mind is irritated anyway, so that's its natural state. It's not really that this message is adding irritation to that.
No.
Just making it more obvious.
Yeah.
The amount of irritation the mind or the person lives in, actually.
Yeah, you're also looking for an answer or a reason for the irritation, but the irritation is already there.
Exactly.
The me is irritated.
So to speak, yes.
Because it's duality.
That's the irritated. It's irritated by what happens, saying, "Oh, well, that's weird."
Yeah.
So can one say that the mind is always seeking to the best circumstances, the people around him, the circumstances must be good, and that's but there's always something lacks on that. Always on the run, always seeking, never rest.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I wouldn't say that it's the mind itself, to be honest. So I think the mind, or the thinking, whatever the mind is just a tool for the seeker. So the sense of I tries to use thinking to come to an answer or to come to a conclusion. But yeah, the impression is movement. I'm moving on my path. I'm moving on my path. That's how it feels. And the mind and there is no arriving in that.
But the mind, let's say, is involved in his thoughts, and the feeling I am and thoughts, they seem to be the same, one and the same. That's it.
Yeah, almost. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But my impression is there is this feeling of I am, and then on top there is this thought and information about this feeling, and that's the I thought. Then that's I am. But of course they are very closely connected.
because that I am, can one say that I am feeling is following his thoughts around the day, traveling on his thoughts?
Yeah, kind of. But I still would say, I mean, you know, it's all a story, but I still would say I am is first. But of course, by thinking, by conscious thinking, by having the thoughts, by analyzing life or what's going
Yeah.
on, it's kind of sustaining itself. So it's a back and
Yeah.
forth, so to speak. I give energy to the thoughts, and the thoughts confirm that I am. So yeah, I'm surfing on my thoughts through the day. I'm surfing on seeking through the day, actually.
Yeah.
On being busy.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then maybe in thoughts and in feelings and in actions, the me can confirm itself.
It feels alive.
Yeah,
That's how it
yeah,
feels alive
feels.
in seeking, in doing something.
Yeah, it's all an experiencing of itself.
Exactly. That's why, I mean, that's why whatever it does, it confirms itself, because
Yeah,
it gives itself the impression of aliveness.
yeah,
I'm doing something, I'm observing the results, I'm enjoying the results of my doing, and therefore I am. And yeah, exactly.
yeah.
So it's a feeling of aliveness.
Continuously, I am because I feel, or I do, or I think, or I want, or I'm afraid of. That's and then because of that, I must be there or something.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And then it starts again. And because I'm there, I can do, or I need to do all those things.
Yeah, and I'm responsible and guilty and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, so that self person lives by being a person. Can one say that in a desperate state?
Yeah, of course.
Yes,
Being a me is a very desperate state.
that's
Yeah,
a state.
Of course. If you take away all the hopes and dreams and that stuff, it feels very desperate.
Yeah,
yeah. But also in the desperation, the me can say, I am
Absolutely. Oh,
so
totally.
desperate,
Of course.
and that's the confirming the existence of the me.
Again, it's confirming itself. I'm so desperate. I'm
Yeah,
really
I'm
desperate.
so real, and my desperation is so real.
Exactly. And I really need help.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, totally. Of course. Of course.
yeah.
Yeah.
Victimhood is one of the, yeah, it's a very strong I am confirmation.
Absolutely. It's a very strong energy also.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm a poor victim.
yeah,
Oh yeah. Why me?
yeah.
Yeah.
Poor me. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
so you could say when let's say that the last hope disappears, that I will ever arrive, where whatever it is, it would be, then the person should say, okay, that's a kind of a step. And the last hope disappears, that my wife will.
Yeah, but when the person, the problem is when the person regards this as a step, it wasn't the last hope disappearing.
No, it was just another step.
But exactly. Yeah. I don't know. When I was a seeker, I don't know how often I said to myself, okay, I give up. I can't do it. I'm so desperate. Or I let it all
let
go.
it go. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and for a moment it even felt like that, but it lasted for a few minutes and then
yeah,
it was, yeah, yeah.
yeah. All that actions are temporarily. Yes.
Only all those seeming successes when
Yeah.
it feels like, ah, now I let go, and always in the superlatives. Now I let go completely, of course.
Oh yeah, yeah. Totally.
I'm
Yeah.
totally desperate. I'm really hopeless, but the person never is really any of that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just feels like that for a moment or for a while.
But that's the most difficult thing with maybe what you're saying. The person is not real. Because in the past I practiced the Zen meditation, and there's always that the message to the person, you have to make one step, and it conditioned me in all the years. So when I met you, I did maybe still 3 months or something practicing meditation, and then I gave up. It was not possible anymore to reach for another level or something. It was something artificial.
Yeah, it's funny. I think, I mean, it's not a step, it's not a step or something, but I think this can happen around this message, actually, that it's just that suddenly it feels very artificial to keep up those practices, which is not an intellectual thing. As you said, the person would actually love to go on with doing its practices and living in this safety of doing something, but it's just not possible anymore. And the energy to keep those things up just softens or vanishes. That's what seems to happen around this message. Miraculously, actually.
Took away my life, Andrea.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, I didn't. It was the message. Yes, in a way, it ruins this artificial personal life. Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
So that's in meditation, there is a kind of feeling, then I become in a kind of choiceless state in meditation, choiceless awareness.
Yeah.
That's an artificial something, because can you say that that needs a person to be choiceless?
Again,
to be choiceless, that needs a person. Can one say that?
Yeah, well, for the person, this would be some kind of state.
Yeah.
You know, and in a very funny way, a state that it chose, namely in the moment it started to meditate.
Yeah.
That's actually where this choiceless state can't be separated from the impression of choice, because for the person feels I'm on this path, and part of my path is this meditation times when I sit down at certain times, and then for an hour or half an hour or 2 hours, I don't know, I become this choiceless state, or I morph into this choiceless state. But this whole state, this whole experience is embedded into a much greater story where I definitely chose to sit down and meditate and do that stuff. So it's not really choiceless. It just feels like that for a while, kind of this arresting energy, a presence, kind of, that doesn't do much. That just is. That's how it would feel in those meditations, I guess. There's an isness that doesn't wander around with its intention. And then it also seems as if there is no choice then. Because
so I'm not involved anymore in all kinds of things, let's say.
Yeah, in the end, I'm not involved in my own story anymore, in my own thoughts. Yeah. And that can feel very free for a while and clear. I think that there's a sense of clarity within that. It's all personal.
Yeah.
But I think the problem is that's kind of when the person has this message, or it aims for something like that. That's would be its approach, where it thinks, oh, it might be this.
Yeah.
This feels clear and free and untouched by worldly manners and stuff. Yeah.
It's a bit like you say, it's funny in the Zen practice. You have all those Buddhas in history, starting with Buddha himself, and then when you become a Zen teacher, there is a kind of lineage from you to the original Buddha who lives 2,500 years ago.
I,
That's maybe the goal in Zen. Yeah.
yeah, it gives it, it makes it, I don't know the English word, kind of feel trustworthy and serious. Tradition and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Tradition.
make it more real, maybe, because
Exactly.
when
Yeah,
it's a continuous existing, it's never ending. So because it has to be real, because it's eternal or something,
exactly. And that's
eternal wisdom or something like that.
wisdom, truth.
Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
that
Real
develops.
truth, real truth never dies or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So there's the illusion, there's Maya, and there's the eternal love or truth or whatever.
Exactly, which are regarded as opposites.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe not conceptually. I think in Buddhism, and Zen is a part of Buddhism, they have this idea that in the end, actually, Maya, I think Maya and Nirvana, no, that's samsara and Nirvana, but they somehow melt or meet, but
yeah.
that's just theory in there, as far as I know. It's a long path until it is like that for you, for the seeker.
Mhm.
You say, yeah, so in Buddhism, they talk about samsara and nirvana. They meet, let's say.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
samsara is
Exactly, and at the end, when
yeah,
you become enlightened or something,
yeah.
they are actually.
yeah,
But what you're saying, Andreas, I heard you saying last that let's say the source and the appearance are the same.
Exactly. That actually is nirvana and
Yeah.
samsara being the same. That's actually the source and the appearance.
So that you say the same.
Well, kind of. Yeah. Well, yeah, kind of. But in this message, it's not a goal at the end of a personal path, and it's not an experience for someone. So in the teachings, this would just be theory. This would just be a concept and the seeker, but the main focus is on the practicing, is on the seeker having to do a lot of tasks,
Yeah.
a lot of methods and disciplines. And there is the hope that one day this will be realized by the seeker.
yeah. If there is a path from samsara to nirvana,
Exactly.
and it's a spiritual path to go from the one we are now in. We're now living in samsara or something like that.
Exactly.
And we have to go to another state. It's a state of consciousness. And then we arrived home or something.
Yeah, and that's where all the focus is on. That's
Yeah.
the thing. The focus of all me's, of the teachers and the seekers, is on the practice. You have this nice theory somewhere written in the books,
Yeah.
and but that's actually not what's daily life. Daily life is being a me and is seeking. I think you have the same in Christianity, for example. I mean,
Yeah.
they also say they also say God is everything or all is God or something, but it's in daily life. This is the most uninteresting aspect of it, because in daily life it's about guilt and forgiveness and doing something and praying and believing. So.
Yeah.
And what this message says is basically, oh, that's all part of a dream. It's this. Sitting in front of a screen is all there is. And that's neither right nor wrong, nor it's a goal. And it's not a goal. That's the thing. There is no goal, and there is no special state to achieve. And that's the surprise, that three humans, us three, sitting in their rooms in front of their screens, that is nirvana. That is the clarity. That is the emptiness. That is not real already, but being this would be the melting of samsara and nirvana. This is everything not being real. So that's it. And it's already the case. So it's always difficult with those concepts because they sound so theoretical and so huge. But what it actually describes is just this utter simplicity that's not spiritual at all. It has nothing to do with spirituality at all in that sense. And with meditating and staring at walls, so I don't know what you did in your Zen practice, but there's just no connection between this already being this and people trying to realize it.
So I can say that there's no underlying truth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's literally not two. Never, ever.
Never, ever. This is so direct. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No inside, no outside, no deeper layer nor upper layer or whatever. It's all the same two, the same split. It doesn't exist.
Yes, exactly. It just doesn't exist. Yeah.
Yeah.
On your Andreas, on your I have to think about your website, the Timeless Wonder.
Yeah.
There you, the words, there are not many, there are not two, there's even not one.
Yeah.
You're saying. So.
But not even, maybe, is it, Andreas? There's not even one other thing.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I think that all the dreams of there being two or many, or it starts actually with the dream that there is one thing, one truth, one reality.
Yeah.
That's coming from the seeker, I think, because the seeker or the me is one. That's the experience. There is one thing that exists.
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah.
Some kind of presence or awareness but I think that's where those ideas come from, that there is one truth, one reality. Because it's a person's experience already.
And the dream of we are one, we're just one energy or something. That's
exactly
not the case. It's not 3 person, but 1 person, one heart or something.
Yeah.
That's a desire of the me, I think.
Totally. Oh, totally.
It's very hard for the me to discover or whatever. That it's also a dream.
Yes. Yes. Oh, it's such a, I mean, in a way, one could say it's such a desire to be the one without seeking and to be able to arrive in being that one, resting in that one. It's a bit actually like the experience that you described, Wim, in meditation. It's also resting in one's own being and stuff.
Yeah.
This would all be words that come up in this experience or in this state.
Yeah. The desire to be God or to be the image of God. We have an image of God, the me, and to be like him or as God or whatever.
Exactly. But in the end, it's still just me.
Yeah. In a bigger form or something.
Exactly. Maybe just let me be me without seeking. I want to. When can I rest?
Yeah. And then I can help other people to become me.
Of course. The moment I discovered how to rest, I can teach others how they can rest.
Yeah.
So the person, like you sometimes say, Andreas, he wants to arrive in that. The person wants to arrive in that as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a person. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Problem.
Yeah, the only thing that wants to arrive is the person.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you have a new book, eh? You did it together. You made a book, and it's no arriving, no approaching, or whatever. Maybe you can keep it.
It's all the way around. No approach, no arriving. So.
No approach, no arriving. Yeah.
You have to show it. I don't have it lying here, so
I have it here, so we can make a commercial for this.
Yeah. Show it.
Yeah, lovely.
Little bit higher. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to be very honest, it wasn't really us two doing it. So most of it was actually Wim doing. Well, I did
Yeah,
this.
sorry. Yeah, Wim, you did it, Wim. Huh? It was your idea also. Or...
It was my idea, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I was always, those on YouTube, seeing you, Andreas, and those introductions from you that but somehow when these are all the introductions, these are only the introductions you give in all those talks. And every time I read them, they are still very new and fresh for me, you know. Yeah.
So people who saw most of my YouTubes have already heard it, but now it's written down. It's introductions from the last years.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a difference when you hear it and you can read it by yourself. Maybe can be an additional thing.
Well, some people like reading.
Yeah.
There's some things sometimes in those, introductions, you say something, I read them and then, you keep in mind why it just goes around. There was one talk, I believe in Paris it was, that you said when there is one thing, there's automatically something around it.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're always going together.
Yeah, that's what we were. That's this, not many, not two, and not even one.
Yeah.
The separation starts with a one, not with a second. And the person always says, there is me, I'm given, I'm not I mean, it's a bit conceptual now, but that's how those teachings also work. I'm just me, I'm one thing, and I can't be separate from myself. So that's how they explain that the awareness experience isn't actually separate. They say if there is just one me, how can this be separate from itself? So for them, separation starts with the object. And suddenly when you are aware of a world, that's when separation kicks in their concept. But they don't really see that it's just conceptual, because the moment there is one thing, you automatically create the two. The one can't be without the second. Only conceptually, only for a moment in a state, it can feel like that, but it can't be sustained really, this oneness experience. So the one instantly creates the two. So separation ends, or the illusion of separation ends, when the one dies, not when the person attracts its attention to itself or tries to escape from the world by not thinking or something. Separation doesn't end then. Separation ends when the one dies, apparently.
So all those ways, those approach, all the different ways, like the Zen, they exist while people exist in experiencing what me, and that's the starting point.
Sorry. Yeah. Oh yeah, that is the starting point. Me, I'm already there.
Yeah.
And how can I get a better experience?
Exactly, that comes instantly out of it. But the starting point is always, I'm now here, me.
Yeah.
The one is the starting point and the arrival point. The me only arrives at itself to just start another round of seeking.
What also is strange, I don't know how to say, in the spiritual teachings, that you have to become the observer of your thoughts and your feelings and your behavior. And then they say, because you are the observer, you cannot be your thoughts, you cannot be your feelings.
Exactly.
They call it non-duality teaching, but it's just separation, because there's an observer who is observing the thoughts, and
Exactly.
that is separate from your thoughts, and I cannot be my bad feelings, I'm something else. It's not duality at all.
That's total duality, but that's what I meant.
Yeah, it's total. It's not. Yeah, it's total duality. But the teachings, they call it non-duality teachings. It's so strange.
Exactly, but but their explanation is, but that's logical. That's the thing, that the basic experience remains dual.
Yeah.
There is the me and the thoughts, but
Yeah.
but they would then intellectually call this non-dual, because they would say, but the awareness is who you really are.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that isn't separate, that isn't divided within itself. And
Yeah.
the thoughts are just an appearance, and they are not real.
Yeah, the thoughts are the samsara, or the dreamer, or the dream figure, or something like that. But the dreamer, the I am itself, is real, is consciousness, is awareness itself.
Exactly, and
The only
suddenly,
thing that is real. It's total confusing. It's so confusing.
yes, but within the logic of the me, or the logic of the person, you just invented a perfect non-dual concept.
Yeah.
But there's just one thing left that's real, me, or the awareness.
Yeah. Yeah.
It has nothing to do with daily experience, because you're still experiencing those illusory thoughts, or which are just an appearance or something.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah. And that's why it's so artificial. You have to practice it again and again, because it's artificial and it's not your natural state, it's not your natural experience.
Exactly. There is still work involved.
Yeah.
There's still some doing involved, some recognizing,
Mm.
keeping the concepts warm. You have to cook up the concepts again and again to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You have to read in the Zen practice about the concepts, what you're saying. So there is also not only sitting in meditation, but also to read the sutras. And in the sutras, there are then that's the reality to go to it, the way the sutras show you the way, That's so.
Exactly. It's just like everywhere. It needs theory and practice.
Yeah.
So funny. As if it's a job to become enlightened, so to speak, or to become no one. It's like really as if you learn a profession. There's some theory involved and some practice, and so funny.
Yeah.
But what you're saying for your non-message, Andreas, when it would come from an experience, then it would be not a non-message anymore.
Exactly, it would be instantly a teaching.
Yeah.
And then there would be the idea that this message helps me, that there is something to get, that it's possible to become no one, or to get into a state of no one, and that this would be beneficial for oneself or others. Yeah. That you could do something for that. And then, oh yeah, of course. It would just sneak in. The energy of intention and direction and teaching would just sneak in.
But for the person, it lives only in experiencing. So, yeah, that's the most difficult thing. But the person should think, okay, I have to make a step in not experiencing anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. There's always a step involved. That's what in all those concepts, in all those teachings, it's a goal. It's the most important thing is to do the right step in the person's world, seeking again. Exactly. And of course, the person tries to do this with this message as well. Of course, the person regards this message as a teaching as well, of course.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
quite quickly, there might be a noticing that its approach doesn't work, like trying to become no one or trying to become unconditional love or whatever, or trying to be what happens, or I don't know what people try to do, but or tell themselves that this is just what happens or stuff. But I think pretty quickly there can be a noticing that that's quite futile, and that this is not a teaching in that sense. It doesn't try to teach anything. And I think to many people who are in resonance with this is quite obvious. But at first, the seeker approaches this as if it is a teaching.
Yeah. So when we met in France, in Saint-Martin, there was at a certain moment there was someone he talked about koan study. In the koan study, and then you said this is koan. Is an answer. So, or maybe could you say this is a possibility?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not a koan in order to teach something, but for the person, what happens is the mystery that can't be answered.
Yeah.
But it's not a mystery in a tradition where koan would be used to, again, bring the seeker to a certain point or to a certain experience, emptying the mind usually. No, just the daily life for the person is the mystery, what it constantly seeks an answer for, but it doesn't get one. That's how I meant it. For the person, us sitting here would be, what's this about? Well, what can I get from this? What's the deeper reason for this? Why are we sitting here? And all those things. So for the person, actually, life is the koan. Well, there's no answer to it.
So the person trying constantly to capture the situation, to where it brings the situation, where it brings me to.
Exactly, wants to use it.
Yeah,
it captured it already by being aware, but then it wants to use it. Yeah. It's a dream, though. It never manages. Because it's all there is. Because what happens is all there is. And it's not a mystery, really, or it's not something to be solved.
So the person wants to solve life.
As if it's a koan, as if it's a task.
Or make it better for me. Yeah.
And it's just not necessary. That's the funny thing, that all this seeking, it's just not needed. It can just be this without any purpose and without it being personal. It can just be this without needing to serve a me. It's just can just be this, and it's free to be this. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you talked in one of your books is called Freedom.
Yes, I thought that's it's a quite okay title, I think.
Yeah.
We would like the title. Freedom, that's what I want.
Freedom, yeah, I know, exactly.
How can I get it?
Yeah, exactly.
Where can I get it?
Yeah.
From who is giving it to me?
Exactly. Or what should I?
Maybe Andreas.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's funny, but another book, I believe, yeah, I think
What a
it's
bad title. No, I'm
it,
joking.
but there's also a book, is that net that, and also there's the book called Freedom, and there's also a book, You Will Never Be Free. That's
Yes,
what's the next book?
yeah, I wrote it instantly afterwards, after
Yeah,
freedom created so much misunderstanding.
yeah. So you have to rewrite the book. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yes, you'll
yeah.
never be.
Maybe Freedom was the title the agency wanted, and afterwards the title of You was there. You will never be free. Was your title?
You think the translation? Yeah, actually, it's the other way around. The title was "You Will Never Be Free." Yeah, okay, now I know what you mean. That
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Dutch translation,
For the
yeah,
money,
where
freedom for the me. Yeah, it sells.
yeah, I mean, it
You will
was,
never be free, and why would you buy it?
yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, I mean, I mean, you can't make huge amount of money with these books anyway. But
No.
if
No,
you then call it
it's
even, you will
But
never.
this is also an attractive title. Alles
Yeah,
is
yep.
zijn.
yeah, that was the
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, wow, alles is zijn.
Now that's a Olette. That's the book what you showed. That it's the Dutch translation from the book
Yeah,
You Will Never Be Free. They have changed the title.
yeah, I heard it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's because you will never be free. It's when they said it in English. Je zal nooit in het Nederlands. Je zal nooit vrijheid vinden of zo. Je zal nooit vrij zijn.
Ja,
Ja,
ik zou nooit vrij zijn.
this is more attractive.
Yeah, that's good. I think what's in the book is the same.
But it's not. The title doesn't really say it was inside. It's a little bit a contradiction.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's inside is better.
It's much more worthy.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Even better. Let's put
Even
it-
better. It's,
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Great.
so it's in fact you will say about freedom, but it's for the person it's no fun at all. One can say also.
For the person, it's
It's
no
no fun at all. The
no
person lives
fun.
no fun.
No.
No.
Oh,
What
fun.
you say,
No fun. Yeah,
Mhm.
well, I mean, in a very funny way, I think the person also, or also in the personal world, there is this successes and there's highs and I'll get it soon. And I mean, there's even some fun in that. I know it's kind of part of this whole seeking structure. And of course, there's constant doing and stuff, but I mean, the suffering from being a person is illusory, actually. So yes and no. Of course, in a way, it's not fun to be a me. There's this unfulfillment, all that we just talked about.
Mhm.
On the other hand, it's the same wholeness. And even in the personal story, there are those highs and well, there seems to be hope and it seems to work. And I just don't
Some
want,
way is also attractive, the game of
of course.
highs and lows and all kind of experiences. So that makes it that it's maybe also that it's going on or now.
Absolutely, of course. And it's the same wholeness, of course.
Yeah.
So it's the funny thing it's a story now, but when I look back on, so to speak, my life as a me, which sounds very weird, but I can't see that suffering that seemed to have been there at that time, I understand, but actually it was quite okay, really.
Yeah, you were quite okay, yeah.
Well, looking back, that's what I mean. It didn't feel like that at times, but actually, when I look back, all of that wasn't really real, and it wasn't a real problem. It was just a normal life with ups and downs, but they weren't real either. So
Yeah.
there wasn't a real problem with that, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Of course, in that moment, it felt different, but
Mhm.
it's just a feeling, kind of.
Yeah.
You should say then, because there's maybe you have to feel kind of desperate, to be bored with yourself, and yes, before you come to the conclusion. Yeah, it's no conclusion, but before the person drops.
Yeah, it's not needed, I think, but most people just have that in their stories, that they are kind of, it's not conscious and you can't do it, but that they become so desperate that they just are fed up with being a me, actually. They are not just fed up with a job or with a relationship and replace it with a new one, or they aren't just frustrated with a teacher and they move on to another one. For some people, it just seems to become boring, or all kinds of things, exhausting with being me, even. But it's not needed, really. There doesn't have to be a path of suffering and desperation and stuff. It can just collapse for no reason. But quite a few people have that. Including me. I think I had to, at one point, I was just fed up being a me, even.
Yeah, that too.
Uh, Not that this being fed up brought about the collapse of it, but it just was what happened, kind of.
Yeah.
Well, I noticed from the point I met you that the freedom for me, I can say that I don't work as much as more on myself as a person to make a next step. So,
Yeah.
and in the relations, it's also freedom because I don't judge anymore characters from people. Yeah, they don't have to change also. It's the same world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you mean by not so much anymore? So you still work on yourself a little bit, or?
A little bit, one can say. Yeah, the first thing, that I stopped practicing meditation, it comes just out of this. I didn't choose for that. It just felt artificial, yeah.
It didn't happen yeah. I think sometimes one keeps up this impression of working on oneself for the others. So
Yeah, at least it has a purpose.
that to just not be completely what?
No. Yeah, there's a higher goal. Yeah.
Oh, ik moet even de bel. De bel gaat nog een beetje.
Yes, I mean, in the end, there just isn't anyone. So that's just what happens.
Yeah, it's about dropping off body and mind. That's an expression on the Buddhistic teaching. Dropping off body and mind. So it comes not from after a while sitting, after whatever practice. So this dropping of body and mind is not a happening, can one say. It does not happen.
No, it's what seems to be happening.
Seems to it.
Bodies with brains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but the person will turn it immediately in a happening.
Well, and it's something that important and that should still happen, and that's how I heard it from you, and that promises freedom.
Yeah.
No. So who was at the door?
A friend of mine. He's
He's standing for an hour for the door.
very quiet.
All right.
Going to do some things in the house.
Oh, all right.
Ja. Klussen, hoe zeg je dat in het Engels?
Geen idee.
Klussen?
Klussen?
Klussen.
Weet ik niet. Maar
No, never mind. So, now it was a nice to speak together.
Yeah.
Maybe, do you have another question or something, Wim?
No, I don't think so.
No, it's okay.
At the end of all questions.
It's the end of all questions, yeah. The end of all practicing and teaching.
Yeah.
We're already free. Not
Yes.
you, but
Well, not anyone, but
No.
there isn't anyone who is free, but this is free.
Yeah, this is free and whole and whatever.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
And
Thanks a lot. What a lovely chat. Thanks.
yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks.
Thank you.